Jeffrey Fanto on behalf of Mr. Parsons. Today's time and date set for a violation. We've reviewed the allegations, reviewed his rights to have a hearing in this matter. Mr. Parsons prepared to plead guilty, voluntarily waiving those rights.
Do you understand all of that?
Yes, sir.
All right. And you went over those advice and rights with your counsel? You understood them? Is that a yes? Ms. Maudlin can't hear whispers.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And did you sign and date that?
Yes, sir.
All right. And you understand that if you enter a plea of guilty, you're going to be waiving those hearing rights outlined in the form?
Yes, sir.
All right. Get it. Mr. Parsons, I know you're nervous, but Ms. Maudlin we have got to keep her happy. She has got to hear what you say and make a record. Okay.
Yes.
There you go. All right. So to the allegation that you provided dilute samples on January 11th and January 16th, how do you plead?
Guilty, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, I'm going to accept the plea as knowing and voluntarily given. Mr. Fanto.
Judge, had a conversation with Mr. Parsons. I spoke with Mr. Keys. Mr. Parsons seems to be doing well. Otherwise, it's been difficult for him, and he's learning process. He understands that there's ways to be able to drink fluids in order to give a proper sample, and there's ways not to. And he's learning that. I would ask the court. I think the recommendation is reasonable, and I would ask the court to adopt that. Again, Mr. Parsons seems interested in the program, seems to be engaging in other items, and it's just a matter of getting over the hump here.
Because marijuana is going up even with dilute tests. That's weird. Doesn't that seem weird to you, Mr. Keys?
So the levels have been fairly consistent. They're not really decreasing.
No.
I will say that we did an oral swab test that will go back, much less time, roughly a couple days as opposed to 30 days to see if there had been any new use. We had that done today, and he was negative for all the substances.
Okay. All right. Mr. Parsons, I know you're having a hard time adjusting. I'm trying very hard to be patient with you. I really am. But I'm not gonna let you make a mockery of a treatment court program. I'm just not, right? So here's what's concerning to me. You were just here for a violation in front of me because you missed testing like a week ago. You just missed testing a week ago. And I'm like trying, look, I gave you a few days in county, which I think you deserved. But I don't want to this is a program to try and help people stay out of jail. The goal is to help you learn some coping skills and some behaviors that will stop you from repeatedly ending up in front of judges and spending your entire life in the criminal justice system. That's the goal, right? But if you're not gonna, it takes two. Right? We could do all the stuff in the world. If you're not showing up and you're having dilute tests and whatever else, why are we using a spot on you? And I know you're new, and I'm going to give you, that was just on January 8th. I'm really trying to be patient with you, Mr. Parsons, but you are pushing your luck. You have got to show up for testing. How do I know you're not using? Why do you think we have you test?
To show that I'm not using.
Correct. So how do I know you're not using if you don't show up to testing?
You don't, Your Honor.
Right. So how is that working?
It's not.
If it's a treatment court program and the goal is to get you out of active use and into recovery, but I can't tell if you're using or not, we got a problem. Write an essay explaining what you're going to do to prevent dilute samples in the future, which I think Mr. Keys is being incredibly reasonable with you. And I think it's because we had our staffing yesterday where the whole team got together and talked about you. And it really sounded like you were making a little bit of progress in some other areas. And I'm confident that that's what Mr. Keys is basing this on. you're gonna write an essay explaining what you're gonna do to prevent dilute samples in the future. You have 4 hours of community service to be completed in 2 weeks. And you have 1 day jail in abeyance. It's a fancy word for you're not going to jail. Okay? What I'm telling you is if you have a missed or a dilute test within the next 2 weeks, I'm giving you a day in jail on this violation. So I'm giving you a carrot and a stick, right? Just show up to testing and you don't have to do a day. But if you miss a test or you're testing dilute in the next 2 weeks, you're gonna just go do a day. Plus, you're gonna have a new violation and you'll probably do a day on that too. I don't know how else to get through to you, except for to have you concerned. I know you don't like jail, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
1 day jail in abeyance, no missed dilute tests for 14 days. You could do it, Drake. Otherwise, you just have the essay in 4 hours. So you don't have jail time. You have no jail time unless you mess up and miss or fail, miss, or dilute a test in the next 14 days, okay? And if you're still testing positive for marijuana, but your numbers are increasing, I'm not gonna violate you for that. As long as it's going down, did I say increasing?
You did.
Strike that. As long as it's going down and it doesn't look like you're using anymore, I'm not gonna violate you for that. It's gonna take time to get out of your system. But if those numbers start going up again, that's positive. We good?
Yes, Your Honor.
Any questions?
No, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Parsons, you're all set.
Thank you, Your Honor. I just want to say thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Mr. Parsons, I really think you can do this. I really think that this is gonna be beneficial for you. And I really want you to be successful, but I'm not gonna, play games with you for too long either. We've got a program. So you can do this, show up, do what you gotta do. You're 100% capable of it.